Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Anthony, and in today's video, I am going to talk to you about how to write the perfect fashion CV. Well, actually, the perfect CV in general, because honestly, in the current times that we are in, CVs are really important. People are losing their jobs and they will need to get a new one. The best way to get a new job is to have a perfect CV. Now, before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe down below because it really does help my channel to grow. Please also leave a comment because I really like chatting to you guys and, you know, getting to know you a little bit better. I'm going to show you some examples of different CV types and then I'll show you my CV at the end. So my CV is a lot different than the examples that I'm going to show you, but it's worked for me. I have got a lot of interviews from my CV along with my portfolio, and I've been offered a lot of jobs, so you know it's been working in my favour. So we're going to get started with the first CV, and first of all let me say this is quite a nice way of laying it out. I mean, it's very structured and they've got the really nice lines going through each part, but what I would say is that this person doesn't look very experienced in the role that they're applying for or the role that they've done, because there isn't a lot of information on the CV. What's really good is they've got their name and their contact information at the top and their profile. So every CV that we're going to look at, including mine, has a profile section. Then they go into the work experience, and the work experience is very bullet pointed, but I always like to have a small paragraph at the top just explaining the job and the role, so the person who's reading the CV can really get into it. Their education's there and their skills are there, which is great. But one thing I will say, and I've seen this on a lot of CVs, and I just don't understand why people do it, and I don't understand the need for it, is putting that little bar with your different skill sets and then a level to it. Because if you look at the CV, for example, artistic skills, she doesn't have the bar all the way to the top, which says to me that she isn't as creative as she's trying to put through. And okay, she's being honest that, okay, she's not that creative, but as a designer, why are you saying that you're not creative? It makes no sense to me. And that's the same with the artistic skills as well. And also, the problem solving and time management skill. Why would you say that you don't have good time management? It makes no sense to me at all. So these kind of bar examples just don't do it for me. And honestly, as a fashion CV, she doesn't even mention Illustrator on it. For a creative CV who would be using creative suite programs such as Illustrator, Photoshop, all of them kind of programs, she hasn't mentioned it. So to me, it says that she doesn't have any experience in that whatsoever. So this would go straight to the bottom of the pile.
Just as I thought. Trash.
The next one is, again, really nicely laid out. They've got a section at the top with all of their contact information, then their profile, which is great, and then they go into the work experience, and they go into education and skills and all of that sort of stuff. But for me, they've got this massive black bar down the side, which, again, has no purpose there. It's wasted space. Why would you have a load of black down the side of your CV? Okay, she looks like she's got a little bit more experience, but that's because all of her information is condensed into this space and she's got that big black bar there. So, okay, fine. For me, it kind of looks like you're padding out space and trying to make it look artistic when actually you're just condensing your information into this smaller section to make it look more padded out. So again, this person has got the bars at the bottom. So it goes into interpersonal skills, which, okay, right. And then they've also got computer skills. So this person does actually mention creative programs, which is great, but none of them are at full bars. Like, why would you sell yourself short? If you know Illustrator, don't put that you only know 50% of it, 60% of it. You want to go into that interview and them to really understand that you know what you're talking about. You want them to think, wow, this person is so good, not 60% good. You want them to think you're great. So why would you? Oh, it just makes no sense to me at all. Actually, it makes me really angry because you are just selling yourself short there. And interpersonal skills, able to work well under pressure, all of that sort of stuff, it's great to mention, but I personally think that's just a brief sentence in your profile rather than actually laying it out. So I wouldn't be doing this. Okay, so example number 3. Now this one is my favourite layout of all 3 of them because it's just really nice, clear and simple, but there are still some problems with it. Again, there is a lot of white space on this page. You can fill your CV up with the most amount of information that you can think of, because you really want to portray how much you know about the job that you're going for and the job that you're in right now. You want to portray that you know as much as possible. And if you've got a lot of white space, that just says to me that you don't have a lot to say, or you don't have a lot to talk about, which isn't good, especially when you come to an interview, because when people are interviewing you, they will have your CV in front of you and they'll go through and be like, oh, so tell me about this. Oh, tell me about that. How did you problem solve this? How did you, do you know what I mean? So you really need to make sure that you've got a lot of information on your CV so you can actually talk through it and get A, your skill set through, B, your personality across, and C, make them think that you're right for the role that you're applying for. So again, with this CV, as I've said, I really like the layout. I actually think it's really clean and nice and simple. But what you don't put on there is your social media information. Unless your social media following is huge, you've got 100,000 followers on Instagram, you've got 250,000 followers on YouTube, LinkedIn is popping. Unless you've got all of that, you don't need to put it on there. And actually, most employers don't need to look at that information because that is your private life and this is your work life. So don't put your Facebook on there, don't put your Instagram, do not put your Twitter. LinkedIn is fine if you want to put it on there. I personally don't, because the majority of the time I either apply for a job through LinkedIn or all the information that's on my CV is on my LinkedIn anyway. So really, it doesn't really matter that you have them kind of social media links on there. What is nice though is that she's got 3 different jobs on the one CV, so they can actually see that she's got a bit more experience than the other people. And also it's laid out quite nicely. For me, I personally would pack out as much on there as I can, but overall, if I saw this CV, I'd be happy to pull them in for an interview. Okay, so let's look at my CV. So this is my actual CV. I've changed a bit of information like my address, my emails, my phone number, but this is my CV and this is what I send out to people at interviews. So as you can see, it is jam-packed with information. There is hardly any white space here. And I know a lot of people will look at my CV compared to the others and think, oh, they're all so clean and sparse and nice. And no. You need to put as much information on that CV as possible because the person who is interviewing you needs to know what you're all about, and that is the whole part of the CV, is to get you an interview. Just because your CV is laid out in a way that is aesthetically pleasing does not mean that you will get the job, or doesn't even mean that you'll get an interview. Because at the end of the day, when you send a fashion CV in, you're also sending in a portfolio example as well. And if you don't have a portfolio or you don't know how to put a portfolio together, I'll leave a link somewhere around here so you can go and watch a video about how to pull together the perfect portfolio. You're sending them both in conjunction. So really your creativity and artistic presence should be coming through in your portfolio, but your CV is business. So as you can see at the top of my CV, is my personal information. So I've got my name, my address, I've got my phone number, and I've also got my email address so they can get in contact with me easily. And then I go into my profile and I'll just read you my profile so you can see the kind of language that you should be using. I'm a passionate, enthusiastic designer with over 9 years of experience designing multiple product areas for both designer brands and high street. I am creative and energetic and love to look at the latest catwalk to discover the new trends for the season. I have a passion for design and product development and like to interpret my findings from concept to completion. I'm hardworking, friendly, outgoing, and believe I could enrich a team with my fun attitude and enthusiasm for fashion. I'm currently looking for my next role in design. So I think that shows quite a bit of personality. It uses good keywords and really good words to elevate your personality through it. And from there, I'll go into my employment history. So I'll just bring up one of my older roles. So as you can see here, I've named the place that I'm working, and then I've also named my title. So outerwear, tailoring, footwear and accessories designer. And I've also said how long I was in that role for. In this case, it was just under 3 years, which is a really good time period. So here I go into a little bit more about the job. So I just tell people what I had to do on a daily basis. And then from there, I will go in a bit more into detail and bullet points. So I'll talk about the travel that I've done, the trade shows that I've been to, that I've presented key trends to buyers and management. that I create tech packs and illustrations that go to Far East factories. Then I talk about more boring stuff like managing critical paths and all of that sort of stuff. But you have to lay out what you can do. And no matter how small it is, you should put it on there. And then I always write a little bit at the bottom about my achievements. So as I'm going through the job, if I've done something really well, I've got a little running list on my phone and I just write it in there. So if I have created a new product, or if I have created a new system in which I'm going to send out the CADs, I write that all down, especially if it's been successful. And then when it comes to writing my CV in the future, I can just go through and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, so I'm going to put that in there. It's a really key thing to do because sometimes you can just forget about what you've actually done to get to the point that you're at. So really important, nice little key tip there. Another thing that you can talk about in your achievements is kind of money and the way that you have generated income for that specific company. So for example, this job, I noticed that there was a gap in our range for single socks, and I noticed that all the other people on the high street were doing single socks. I also noticed that they were doing different offers like 3 for 2. So we put that into work and it generated £45,000 of incremental sales. Now that is sales that they did not have before doing that, which is amazing. We've just made that company £45,000 extra. That's going on the CV. And then from there, I go into my education and qualifications. So just generally put it there, but try and follow the same kind of layout as what you've done for your job titles and all of that. So it's very legible and a nice way of putting it through. And then from there, I go into my skills. Now, as you can see, I have not done that bar thing. You don't need it. All you need to say is that you have excellent CAD and drawing skills using Photoshop and Illustrator, Clo 3D, all of them kind of different programs that you use. Just list them out there and say that you've got excellent CAD and drawing skills. Your portfolio will show that off. You do not need a bar to say, I know it this much, or I don't know it that much at the end, but wherever. Ooh, you don't need to put that on there. It makes no sense to me. I've put there I'm creative and edgy, yet understand commercial requirements, which is what every company wants. They want you to be thinking top of the pyramid, what is going to make viewers look and think, oh, that is such a great design. And they also want you to say, okay, that design like this would sell loads. Do you know what I mean? Then you put special skills that you've got, like I know how to tell the difference between aniline, semi-aniline, and different types of leather, which when you're working with bags and accessories or even jackets is a real bonus because you can tell the different grades of leather and all of that sort of stuff. You can put that you're fully comprehensive in office programs, which is a real good bonus because you'll be using PowerPoint, you'll be using Word, and you'll be using Excel a lot. And then just put something like you're able to work independently or with a team, because it just shows that you can go off and do your own thing, or you can work in a group and do it successfully. And then references. I used to put all my references on there, but recently I've been taking them off and just put available on request. All my people who are going to give me references know that they are there, but they are contactable when I need them to be. And I'm not giving out other people's details either. And that is basically my CV. Now, a couple of tips when it comes to your CV. You need to make sure that you're adapting your CV to the role that you're applying for. So for me, I have got experience in outerwear, tailoring, footwear and accessories mainly. And now more recently I've got a lot more experience in women's wear accessories as well. When I'm going for a role, I highlight them points closer to the front. So for example, if I was going for an outerwear position, it'd say outerwear, tailoring, footwear, accessories. If I was going for footwear position, I'd say footwear, outerwear, tailoring, blah, blah, blah. And you also make sure that the information in there is relevant for the role that you're going for. And at the end of the day, if you're really struggling to write the section about yourself and the section about what you've done in your role, you can go out there and look at roles that are being advertised at the moment and use the information that's out there and say, can I do that? Can I do that? Have I done that in the past? What does this mean? Research it. Oh yeah, I've done that. You can then start building out what you have done and what you can do using the information that's already out there. And also that helps when tailoring your CV for that specific role. If you're going for a high-end role and they're listing out these things that you need to do, just make sure that you include a few of them keywords that they've put in their ad into your CV, because that will really help show that A, you've read the brief and that you know what the job entails, and B, that you're the right person for the role. Because when it comes down to it, your CV is to get you an interview and to get into that environment, and that is where you'll start selling your personality. You'll start talking through your portfolio, and then you'll really start engaging with the people that are hiring you to make them believe that you are right for the company. Okay everyone, so that is my advice on CVs and how to write the perfect fashion CV. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to click that beautiful red subscribe button down below. Don't forget to follow me on social media. My Instagram is Anthony James London, there's no H in that Anthony, and my Twitter is SoCalledFashion. Please also check out my Etsy shop where you can download CADs and vectors to help support you in your everyday design life. And it really does help to support this channel. Please also leave any comments or links to your CVs in the section down below. I'd be happy to look at them and I'd love to see what everyone else's CVs are looking like. Alright, okay, thanks for watching. Alright, bye. Tra tra tra. Bye.